Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and today I'm going to summarize an overview of everything that is coming with Affliction League and give like sort of my takes on what I think. And yeah, just like an overview on how hyped I am for the upcoming new league, and there's a lot of cool stuff here. If you want to see my initial reaction with my good friend Steelmage, etc., that is up on YouTube, so make sure you check that out. We'll also have like the full reading of the patch notes and mumbling through that if you so desire in its raw unedited form, but this will be more condensed version. So first, let's start with the good things, and there are a lot of good things. There are, quick TLDR, a lot more good things than bad things. So there are a huge amount of new possibilities for skills, and the reason for that is they are removing enchants, alternate quality gems, and unique threshold jewels are all being removed from the game, and we are getting transfigured gems instead. Now, the way this is going to work is first they've reworked the base quality on a lot of gems. So as a quick example, Tornado Shot, the base quality at 20 quality is now one additional projectile. And there are loads of changes like this where instead of just getting the generic 20% increased damage, they have things that are either increased effect, increased cooldown recovery, or things that generally change the way a skill works, like base radius, base duration, and really interesting things that are actually going to impact the gems. And that is just the actual base thing. So really, really good there and happy with that. And they're adding transfigured gems, which is going to, some are going to be completely changing the way skill gems work. As a quick example, there is an alternate quality or a transfigured gem for zombies that instead of raising them, there's no race limit, but they're now instantly dying and falling out of the sky. So it's like a plummeting zombie that's just like flashing. I'm literally heavily considering league starting this. I don't know how hard it's going to be to actually get the zombie gem, but hopefully that's something I can grind out. And this is something we'll have access to instead of the Divine Font in lab. So the Divine Font now, instead of giving you a helmet enchant or glove enchant, boot enchant, or belt enchant, they're all gone. They will now give you the option of changing the gem. You can upgrade the gem to an exceptional gem, so you can get easy access to Empower, Enlighten, Enhance like never before. This isn't something that you have to fully commit to, because let's say that I'm using my Raise Zombie gem and I put it in the Transfigure thing, and one of the outcomes isn't the one I want, it isn't the gem I want, I can just pull it back out. I don't have to commit to it. So I can just go and try again until I get the one I want. So I don't have to worry about bricking the gem. So that is a nice touch of quality of life they've already added. And this looks super cool. There are so many new things that this is going to change the way it works, and how we're probably going to get more new build options than we've ever had before. Now, will that change the leveling meta, which has been very stale for a while? Like, the meta itself, every league has been quite different. We're seeing new and interesting builds with either uniques from the league or different powers from the league, saying new things every league. And that's been quite good for a while now, even though you'll still see people complaining about it. But the league meta has been very stale for a long time. Now, I do think this is a decent amount of changes. So there should be so much stuff to try that maybe that won't be the biggest deal. I'm personally very keen on trying the falling zombies. I either want to try like maybe a Hierophant or a champion with Ignite, Hierophant with totems. I know there's so many ideas there. And will it work with double Monte Grill's grasp? There's no corpse or sorry, summon limit, so it might. I shouldn't have said that in a video. Scratch that. We're also getting Blight will now work with Contagion. Now, it's going to be really, really interesting how that works. So maybe there's a possibility of a like Contagion ED or Contagion Blight build being back. So now those Chaos builds have traditionally struggled a little bit on damage. Like, it's quite hard to get over 2 million damage on those builds. And right now, the way the current meta is, and like, as power creep happens, you get used to a new level of power creep. Like back in the day, 300,000 DPS was really, really good. Obviously isn't anymore. And right now I'm sitting at somewhere like, I feel pretty happy if my build's over 2 million, but I'm really comfortable if it's like 5 to 15 million damage, which is quite hard for a new player to get to. But for veteran players, that is becoming more and more achievable. Chaos dot skills, however, really hard to get over 2 million. I think the most I've ever had on one is either 5 or 7 million. On a hardcore character while remaining really tanky. If I think I can get Blight up to like a really, really nice level, I might consider making a league starter for it. Obviously, I have a big history with Essence Drain. Would love to do something very similar to that again, but we'll see. I obviously also don't want to like give people something bad to start the league with. So we'll see what we can crack out and hopefully give you something nice to play. But we will be making a lot of league starters as you're used to. Now we are getting 3 new Ascendancies. Yep. And what new class does that come with? None. This is a second Ascendancy for your character. In addition, you can be a Berserker and a Warlock or whatever it's called. So there are 3 new Ascendancies, and they're like add-on Ascendancies. I don't really know what to call them. But there are like Affliction Ascendancies, and they're very, very interesting. So for example, we have things like the Wildwood Primalist, which is the most interesting one to me, because this is basically putting Sanctified Relics back in the game. So if you see here in the background on the open slots on the Ascendancy tree, and we get the same amount of points like a normal Ascendancy, so you will be able to get that last one there. And these 3 blanket ones, they're basically like Sanctified Relics, where you'll be able to drop these cool things that look like parts of other Ascendancies. Like you can get the Juggernaut's movement speed cannot be modified below base value, but also with melee hits have a chance to fortify. So these are going to be insane, and they are tradable. They're unmodifiable, so you will hope to drop like a really good combo or a really good one. Like one here is the Occultist Corvine Charm of the Inquisitor. With cursed enemies, you or your minion skill have a 14% chance to explode, dealing a quarter of their maximum life as chaos damage, and effects of Consecrated Ground, you create linger for 2 seconds. You can have 3 of these, and they have confirmed that if you put 3 of these in, they do stack. So there are going to be some insane combos here, and again, you get these on top of your normal Ascendancy. So I could have this on a champion, get fortify and all the defensive stuff I need, and then maybe get really good clear speed and things. And they're probably also going to be pretty easy to like swap in and out. So between these 3 new Ascendancies, you also have that one. You have the Warden of the Magi, and you also have the Warlock of the Mist. They're very, very interesting. And if you're thinking like, wow, these all look really cool, and they actually all do look really cool and have interesting stuff on them. I think the Primalist, Wildwood Primalist, is the most interesting one to me. That's the socket one, probably the one I'll end up running the most. The other 2 are both really interesting as well, especially Warlock of the Mist has some really interesting stuff for boss killing, and that is Choir of the Damned. It will require a little bit knowledge of like how much cooldown it has and stuff, but it is it curses a single enemy, causing them to spawn multiple phantasms when hit. Now, if that's something that regularly happens, this is really cool for things like Bone Zone, really cool for Arc, and loads of things as well. Really, really excited for how that's going to be. And these phantasms will also have 50% chance to grant a Vaal Soul on death and 50% increased fast charges. So much benefit to be had here. And this doesn't require dropping or anything. This just requires leading that quest from Affliction and Ascending. And yeah, they said you can switch between them. You just need to do the quest of the that NPC. So it sounds like something that'll actually be pretty swappable between. Really, really nice. The league itself does look really interesting. It looks like Delve in the Woods with some Sentinel inspiration. There are monsters now that are going to be empowered and drop a lot of currency, and they will be empowered by 3 different things similar to Sentinel. One that gives more quantity, one that gives more rarity, and one that gives more currency. And they can be buffed by multiple where they will just spout stuff. Which sounds really great. It's supposed to be rippy and rewarding. And yeah, I think this is really, really nice. Sounds like something that's really, really nice, brainless, and blasty that you just blast through. There is a boss as well as part of the league. And it is going to be similar to Lycia in danger levels. We're not getting a pinnacle level boss like Maven or Exarch or anything like that. It is a Lycia level boss. So obviously it can be kind of dangerous and stuff, but it is not going to be something that'll kick your shit in. The league itself is just like, you know, it's a wait and see. It's not something that has me jumping out of my seat. It does look very interesting. It's more the things that are tied to it, right? Like the Ascendancies look super fun, etc. Especially the fact that they're like droppable and tradable like Sanctified Relic. The first thing I was thinking is, dude, the best time I ever had playing PoE was doing Bro SF with my friend Steel Mage. So that's definitely on the table. I've told him I'm down to do that if he wants to. So balls in his court. We'll see what he wants to do. To think about what he wants to do as well. Obviously, there's a lot of choices here with either going Trade League or Hardcore Solo Self-Found. And with other things that are making a comeback this league, Ultimatum is coming back. People have been wanting that. It's the most heavily requested thing ever, but at what cost? We did lose everybody's favorite league, Metamorph. Record scratch. Okay, so Metamorph died. I'm very happy about that. That's the number one thing that I wanted removed from the game because I think I just hate it. It's been like weirdly balanced. It doesn't really add much, at least in my opinion. Now, obviously, there will be people that disagree. There are some people that really like Metamorph. I just don't personally feel like it has a huge place in the game and doesn't really have a huge need to be there. That being said, Ultimatum is back and people have really wanted that, which I think is a little bit odd. Now, I'm not a huge lover of Metamorph, and all the stuff from Metamorph is now part of the core game. You're not losing the uniques, etc. And the catalysts are a reward from Ultimatum now. So don't worry about that. It's just you're losing Tane and interacting with those super ripping Metamorphs. That being said, people love Ultimatum. They go crazy for it every time. Even though the Trial Master is already back in the game, which is the only thing to possibly care about, in my opinion. People are like, I want Ultimatum. We need it back in the game. The rework, however, does look pretty cool. So I'm actually pretty excited to do a lot of Ultimatum this league. I was more hoping they would completely scrap Ritual and maybe combine the way the rewards in Ultimatum and Ritual work. So maybe a little bit more choice like Ritual. And not having to be in 4 different rituals. So more like Ultimatum on the actual engagement mechanic. Because in my opinion, Ultimatum and Ritual are basically the same mechanic with slightly different rewards. It's just like a skin. And I'm not a big fan of stopping 4 times in a map. If I'm gonna do it, I'd rather do it in one spot. But you know, to each their own. It is obviously a very popular mechanic, so I am glad for other people that they have brought it back. And what I do love about it is that the Blight gloves, which are called Breath Stealer or something, I can't remember the exact name, but I believe they're called Breath Stealer, and they're basically like Headhunter if you're standing still in the location. So they're really good for Blight, really good for Ultimatum, and they offer a lot of defensive stuff as well. So they'll be a really cool thing to farm. It makes me want to do some Blight early to try to grab those because they are really good for survival in there. And with the Trial Master map being removed, they have inserted a unique jewel to the game that you get by finding those like fragments like you did to get the map before. Now, this is really interesting, and I really hope that this is a Watcher's Eye type jewel where it's something you want to keep combining this repeatedly to get a good one. So I hope that it's not like a static unique with no rolls or anything. I hope it's something that's super RNG so that you have a cool chase item, something fun to farm. That's, you guys know me, that's like the number one thing I love. And Watcher's Eyes are such a cool thing as well. So hopefully we'll see. But it'll be really, really interesting to have more things to farm for like that. There are several big quality of life things coming to the game as well, like being able to split things while having a trade window open. The delirium thing, if you've engaged a mechanic so that's paused and you run ahead of it, it is no longer going to expire. The huge one, and like small lovely things like this. And I always want to give a shout out to like the graphics and audio team. They always get a line in every patch note saying continues to incrementally increase graphics and audio, and it really is wonderful to see how far Path of Exile's gotten since 2013, where it literally looked like a piece of garbage. And now honestly, there's so many good audio things, there's so many good graphics things, and it's a very old game, but it's still really good and it holds up in a modern gaming world. Now, obviously, it's going to be a far cry from what PoE 2 is going to look like, but they're doing really well. I just want to. It's a small line in the patch notes, but they do a lot of heavy lifting. There are a lot of new uniques coming as well, and it is worth mentioning. We'll talk about this more later with the bad things, but Ashes has gotten nerfed a lot as well. But yeah, new uniques coming, and they have mentioned that there is a super powerful new amulet. Be interesting to see what that will be. I'm wondering if it'll be something similar with a lot of reservation, or maybe some similar to the Owl's amulet, maybe with even more power. I wouldn't be super surprised if we saw a Mage Blood here item for the amulet slot. But yeah, there are quite a lot of really good things that I'm actually excited for here. Again, the best analogy I have is I'm a player that really wants a big sandbox. I don't necessarily care that about how many tools I have, like, you know, different builds, etc. That's not the most important thing to me. I love having different things, which made the last league so good because I had so many things to swap between. So I love having the more things I have to play between. I was really hoping for new bosses, especially as an event creator. I really wanted new bosses, or we want to do a gauntlet this league, and it would be cool to have new ones for people to die on. But still very, very excited for the league. Like a 7 or 8 out of 10. It probably would have been a 9 or a 10 if it had bosses and a boss race. And especially as somebody that was, I was 98% certain I was getting new bosses this league. And I do love that they're experimenting with ascendancies for the league. So this is an insane amount of power creep. And I love that they can sort of play around with that because it generally is borrowed power. Things aren't going core as easily. So they can give us all that insane amount of power and just take it right back out next league and give it in another form, maybe less. And generally, obviously, things will always be power creeping up. But when you are taking things back out, it doesn't go as crazy. That being said, we are going to be incredibly strong, especially since you get these ascendancies pretty early. As for the bad things about the league, obviously the enchants being gone can be a little bit bad for some things, especially I always use the reservation things on helmet on pretty much every build because I love fitting a lot of auras right now, and I've been really enjoying making a loathing helmet, so like the 10% reservation, and then on top of that, I do the 12% reservation implicit. And on top of that, I put like a 30% hatred reservation enchant. So I get like so much mana reservation. And now we're losing that enchant. We're losing ashes. Now, there is some hope at the end of the tunnel because the new simplex amulet, the way it works, is it's 100% increase effect. And you can influence these. I think you can get, is it 20% reservation you can get now on a simplex amulet. So you can still get really powerful amulets, and you can make that a +2 because you can have 1 prefix and 3 suffixes, I believe. So you can have a +2 all spells with 20% reservation. So you can basically make your own ashes. You just don't get the quality then. Ashes does still have quality. It just lost the reservation. So with all the new quality things that we're getting, it is going to be really, really interesting, really strong. So we'll see how it ends up. But and again, very sad for no bosses or no boss case race. But the absolute worst thing, and I honestly, it's really, really hard for me to say this, but the worst thing of 323 is the beach map only survived 1 league of being back in. They just put it back in 322, and they've already removed beach. This is an absolute disaster. It is my favorite map. I love running beach. It's so, oh, it's a hard one for me, but that is absolutely the worst thing of this patch. Honestly, again, I'm a little bit more positive with PoE lately after seeing what other games have been doing. So really, really appreciating what we have, and I think this is the healthiest patch the game has had in a long time. Hopefully, we do get bosses soon though, because that is the most important thing to me. Not just like Lycia level bosses. I do want some pinnacle Uber level bosses. I'm hoping that is on the horizon. So either way, I hope you guys enjoyed my take on all of this. I'm pretty excited. We'll be working on league starters and PoE University and loads of new content for you guys and collabs with other streamers as well. So I'll let you guys know more in other videos what I'll be doing and what my plans are for the league. And yeah, thanks for watching. Sub if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.